Dating back to late 16th century, in William Shakespeare's Henry VI Part 2, Dick the Butcher famous demands, first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
So Zoe, having worked on the Henry VI Part 2 production in 2006 and 2008, how would you describe Dick the Butcher's stance toward lawyers and the legal profession?
I think that Dick the Butcher's attitude towards lawyers is undoubtedly one of dislike. However, I think the quote is obviously subject to interpretation depending on the director and how the show's produced. But I think today the line is commonly understood as being detrimental, expressing the ordinary people's frustration and hatred towards lawyers. However, in the context of the play, the line was spoken and replied to by the rebels who wanted to overthrow the government and institute tyranny. To kill all the lawyers was to ensure that no one could challenge their legitimacy and the rules of the rebels. Therefore, this line could in fact be complimentary as opposed to critical, because lawyers maintain law and order and instill justice in our society. So therefore, a threat to anyone who wants to disturb this.
Having conducted a public survey, it may be argued that this line is a perfect reflection of the public's attitude towards lawyers today. 60% of participants claim to dislike lawyers, which corresponds with the usual interpretation of the quote. However, despite the apparent aversion, 80% of partakers acknowledge the crucial role that lawyers play in society, which, in essence, relates to the alternative complementary understanding. Although the animosity towards lawyers is overwhelming, their role is indisputably recognised as important. Lawyers are essentially agents of peace and order in society, expressing the voice of others. The Latin adage, homo homini lupus, meaning man is a wolf to man, pictures the world in the absence of lawyers, chaotic. It may be argued that no society can endure without lawyers. They are a necessity, but so are taxes and, arguably, traffic wardens, and it appears that the public, although aware of their significance, greets lawyers with the same hostility as they do these other nuisances. It's not difficult to understand the reasons behind the public's bad attitude towards lawyers. Beyond the stereotypical image of lawyers, where they are frequently perceived as fat cats, greedy, manipulative, expensive and cold, and past, more abstractedly, the public's probable association of lawyers with life's most unpleasant experiences, like death, messy divorces and devastating accidents, there appears to be a number of factors that contribute to the low opinion held by the public, highlighted in the survey. Lawyers are often seen as patronising. The relationship between lawyer and client can be likened to that of parent-child. Their unnecessary use of complex terminology, legalese, is not only confusing but implies arrogance, inequality and bad communication skills, making them appear both unapproachable and egotistical. Lawyers are also considered to be untrustworthy. Their profession requires them to play whatever role and manipulate whatever law a client's interest demands. It seems that, as lawyers must be able to defend either party in a dispute, they have flexible ethics. This hardly endears lawyers to the public. For example, how can lawyers Lawrence Lee and Dominic Lloyd, who defended the murderers of 2-year-old James Bolger in 1993, be considered admirable? Although the general dislike of lawyers has existed for centuries, evident in literature, films and even art, today the media undoubtedly has a significant impact on the public's perception of lawyers. The constant broadcast of rising billing rates, ridiculous lawsuits and news stories of lawyers behaving badly does little to raise the public's image of the legal profession. By the media dominantly focusing on the few bad apples and paying little attention to lawyers worthy of recognition, the likes of Helena Kennedy and Michael Mansfield, they depict the entire barrel as rotten. The media may mirror public attitudes, but it may also be seen to magnify and distort them. So, is this bad public attitude towards lawyers likely to change over the next 10 years? Well, public resentment towards lawyers has been evident since as far back as Shakespeare in the 1600s, so I believe that, irrespective of whatever steps are taken to promote this profession, the public's attitude will struggle to change within the next decade. Despite the efforts of the legal society to rectify this reputation, the forthcoming cuts of legal aid, alongside the growing popularity of ambulance-chasing advertising, the bad attitude towards lawyers may get worse before it gets better.